Welcome to another episode of Philosophy, and in today's episode, I'm going to help you out choose the right web hosting for your website project. So I'm going to categorize web hosting into three major categories. So number one is going to be the standard type of hosting. Number two is going to be the professional type of hosting. And number three is going to be the more customized, advanced hosting. So before even going out and buy any type of web hosting online, you got to first plan out what type of web hosting that you require for your website project. The first thing you have to do is analyze your website project. Is your website going to be more of a basic and simple website? And when I talk about simple, I'm just talking about a few pages, a bunch of text, pictures, and probably a few videos that is embedded from YouTube. Or is your website going to be a platform for many users to sign up as members and collaborate with one another? Then you'll require a web hosting that's a little more heavy on the features and a server that could handle a lot of bandwidth, especially when users are going to be signing in, doing a lot of work and collaborating with other users on your website. On another note, if your website project is going to have sensitive information in the database, which will require high security and special features to protect your data, then you'll need a more advanced web hosting in which you can customize and add resources on demand. So I'm talking about website projects just like government websites, bank websites, or any website that involves sensitive user information or financial information. So going back to our three major categories for web hosting, if you could require something simple, then you have to go for something that's called shared hosting. That type of hosting means that you'll be sharing one hardware with a couple other users who require the minimal requirements for their website project. So that is what a shared hosting is. Basically sharing one hardware, computer, or a server by multiple users around the globe. Now this type of hosting is the cheapest type of hosting in which you can get it for at least $3 per month, going up to $10, $15, depending on the type of services that you'll require on the shared hosting. But basically, this is the most cheapest that you could get. And budgetly speaking, it's pretty good for website projects that are just starting up or for business that require something really simple and basic for their website. So the next in line would be a VPS type of web hosting. Now VPS stands for Virtual Private Server. Now this type of hosting offers more professional services and more resources to the user. Think of it as an upgrade from a shared hosting, but technically speaking, it is still shared hosting, but in a virtual environment. Now the difference is for this virtual environment, this server that is shared amongst users on a virtual platform, I would say has better features and has better hardware compared to a shared hosting. So I would say performance-wise, this would offer much more compared to a shared hosting. So if your website project happens to be a little more dynamic, meaning lots of users all around the world, locally, internationally, that needs to access your website and collaborate or do a specific function, then you will require something as heavy duty as a VPS server. The last but not least is the gold standard of website hosting. I'm talking about the Ferraris, the Rolls-Royce of web hosting. And yes, when I talk about the Rolls-Royce of web hosting, it costs lots of money per month. This will set you back from $100 to a few $100s down the line. Now, this type of hosting is called dedicated hosting. Now, the difference between VPS and shared is that you will own this one piece of hardware and not share it with any other users that are availing the same services in that same web hosting company. So meaning they'll provide you one computer with a bunch of resources all for yourself. So privacy and security is all set to your website. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, institutions such as financial institutions, probably the government or any secret organizations would require such web hosting in order to keep their privacy at a higher level and their security, meaning their web hosting or data would be unreachable from external factors. These entities and these institutions are willing to pay as much as $100 to $500 just to keep their data secured on their own dedicated server. So those are the three major categories of website hosting that you could get depending on what your website project requires. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like it. Make sure you subscribe to get the latest video and updates every week. If you got any questions about websites, make sure you hit me up on all major social medias at Philippe Soriano.